Okay, everyone. I think we'll get the meeting started. Apologies for this being a little uh, uh, weird. I need to work off of both my laptop and my iPad tonight, so I'm going to sort of be switching between two systems, and I have no idea how to get rid of the echoing, but we'll work on it during the meeting. So welcome to the December meeting of NPU-F. Today is December 18th, 2024. Co-hosting with me tonight is Kay Stevenson. She's a little late for the meeting, but she will be here soon. Catherine King is our secretary tonight, and Doug Young from the Department of City Planning is our planner. NPU-F has two agendas, the full agenda, which is the one with the phone numbers on the front. We also use a consent agenda, which includes applications which historically this NPU has approved with no discussion. These applications will be bundled together to be approved with a single vote. If you are here for an application, please check the full agenda to find it. Both agendas were uploaded into the chat. I know most people have used Zoom, but for those who are using it for the first time or need a refresher, here's some things you'll want to know. Zoom publishes a participant list, which includes everyone who is attending this meeting. Your name will be at the top of the list. For the most part, our meetings are run just like our in-person meetings, only we're using digital technology. If there's more than one person using the same device, please include both names on the participant list so that we can get an accurate attendance report. This will also be important for voting. To change or add a name, click on the word more, M-O-R-E, to the right of your name to find an option to rename. If someone else's name is showing up in your window, please correct it because if there are duplicate names, neither one's vote will count. The mute button, which looks like a microphone, can be found at the bottom left of most screens. Please stay muted unless you are called on. If you wish to speak, please use the raise your hand icon, which is found under the reaction tab, also at the bottom of the screen. Be sure you click on the correct icon. Sometimes folks will hit the thumbs up and that will disappear after 10 seconds. Speakers will be called on in the order the hands are raised. We'll do a practice vote in a bit so that everyone can find the raise your hand icon on their device. If you can't find it at the bottom of the screen, it may be at the top under the word more, M-O-R-E. Oops, come on. Okay, our screens have frozen. Here we go. If you have called in and want to raise your hand, click on *9. To mute or unmute, push *6. All residents of NPU-F may vote on any issue unless there's a financial interest in the vote. For example, property or business owners may not vote on their own applications, but can vote on everything else. If you're not an NPU resident, business owners may vote if they have met the requirements as described in our bylaws. The voting rules are on the bottom of the full agenda. We are using the honor system tonight. Please refrain from voting if you do not live or own property or a business in NPU-F. For most routine matters, I will ask if there are any objections or for unanimous consent. When a motion is requested, I will recognize the first two people who speak up. This is the only exception to my raise your hand rule, so that we can get through the voting items. I'm going to ask that you limit your comments to 90 seconds or less, unless otherwise instructed. At the end of the meeting, I'll ask if there's anything else to come before the NPU tonight. That's the appropriate time to speak up on items not on the agenda. Alrighty. Okay, so that we can all hear and get a good recording, it's important that only one person speaks at a time. If we're picking up background noise or you interrupt or hog the floor, you will be muted. Most people who attend NPU meetings are here because they feel strongly on an agenda item. I especially want to hear from you if you are opposed to an application or if you think there is something that should be noted to make a project more appropriate to the neighborhood. Please don't be shy about your point of view. And please let me know if I'm moving too quickly. Sometimes I get on a roll and forget some important steps. You'll note at the top of the full agenda, the 50th anniversary of NPU's icons. Mayor Maynard Jackson created the NPU system in 1974 to ensure that folks had input into how their neighborhoods were developed. The role of the NPUs has evolved over those 50 years, and we are asked to comment on a wide variety of topics, both local and citywide. This is a unique opportunity given to citizens in only a few cities, so let's make the best of it. We all have the responsibility to share our opinion with our city leadership through NPU vote counts. All votes taken at the NPU, though, are only recommendations. Final decisions are made by city boards, city administrators, or city council, and I hope that you'll take advantage of expressing your opinion there as well, either in writing, by phone, or by making a comment during public hearing opportunities. Our first order of business tonight is to adopt the agenda. Are there any additions to tonight's agenda? Okay, I don't see any hands raised or hear any voices. Are there any objections to adopting the amended agenda tonight? Okie dokie, the agenda is adopted without objection. Next is the approval of minutes. Thanks to Catherine King for preparing the November minutes. They were placed on the NPU-F website. They're also placed in the chat. Are there any changes or corrections to the November minutes? Changes or corrections? Okay, I don't see any objections to approving the minutes. The minutes are adopted without objection. Got a couple quick announcements. First, ATL Zoning 2.0 held a briefing session on December 4th for Module 2. The Module 2 Q&A session will be held on Monday, January 13th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. on Zoom. You can register at atlzoning.com, and you'll find that under Meet and Contribute. The Module 2 overview session was, we already said that, okay. You can also find the presentation and related materials on this page. Plan A, which is a CDP, continues to have public input sessions on individual chapters through March. You'll find information for those meetings as for both Zoning 2.0 and Plan A on the consent agenda. And then I want to ask that you save the date. On January 27th, we will meet to draft our NPU-F policy statements for the city CDP called Plan A. They are due at the end of February. More to come at the January meeting concerning the Zoom loop and our process. And then finally, the agent and attorney for Aria Gentlemen's Club will not be attending tonight's meeting. I learned that very late last night. Their application is still on the agenda, and we will either approve, deny, or defer the application when it comes up. We're going to start with reports from city departmental representatives. I believe Battalion Chief Martin from AFRD is here. Chief Martin, do you want to start us off?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening. How's everyone doing today?
Good deal.
All right, I have a few things. First off, my name is Chief Christopher Martin. I am the Battalion Chief of Atlanta Fire Battalion 3 C Shift. I have 19 years, well, December 29th will be 19 years of service with the city of Atlanta. I've enjoyed every bit of it. Great to be in the 3rd Battalion Midtown. I spent majority of my career on the south end of the city. Recently made Battalion Chief. Now I'm downtown. We have a few things to go over. First order of the business will be the imminent opening of our new state-of-the-art training center is projected to be operational by March or possibly even sooner. Second thing would be that Atlanta Fire, we just recently received 6 additional reserve fire apparatus added to our fleet, which included 3 fire engines and 3 hybrid trucks. We have successfully completed our training and replacement operation on our Asian SCBA, or self-contained breathing apparatuses, department-wide. So we have new self-contained breathing apparatuses on all the fire engines and fire trucks in the city now. State-of-the-art, a lot more capabilities and making things a lot safer on the fire scene for our members, and accountability tracking. AFRD also has just purchased new battery-powered vehicle extrication equipment, which we're currently in the process of training all the department members on its use. They are more efficient for our department as well when it comes to now not having to rely on fossil fuels such as gasoline to run those units. Now they're going to be battery powered, easily maneuverable, and can be carried to the scene and not actually attached to a power unit. Fire station number 22, which is going to be located in Northwest Atlanta, is set to open and be operational Friday, December 20th. That new fire station is going to be home to Station Engine 22 and Battalion 2. The city of Atlanta is also set to replace Fire Station 30, which is on the southeast side of the city, and Fire Station 26 is also on the northwest side of the city. The Station 30 is currently now being demolition. Fire Station number 26 is soon to be begun shortly right afterwards. We have concluded our testing promotion process for the ranks of captain and a lieutenant, and we will be beginning the final phase of promotions the beginning of next year. And last, but I would like to remind citizens that we are entering the cold seasons. Things, of course, we all know about the Georgia weather. It can be a little bit bipolar. One day it's hot, one day it's cold. However, just keep in mind that make sure you check your batteries on your smoke detectors and your carbon monoxide detectors as well. And let's also use caution when using space heaters. Be mindful not to keep combustible materials nearby or leaving them unattended, okay? And not position them so close to furniture as they can become a fire hazard. And if anyone is in need of a smoke detector or carbon monoxide detector, I can provide you the number that you can give a call. And the point of contact would be Miss Claudia Nash, as a representative of our smoke detector program. The number would be 404-546-7000. And the name again is Claudia Nash. And if you need her email, it would be cnash@atlantanga.gov. And that'll conclude it. Does anybody have any questions for me?
If you have questions, please raise your hand using the raise your hand icon. Anyone have any questions tonight? There's a question in the chat for you, Chief. Is AFRD Station 15 being closed or relocated?
It is not being closed or relocated at the moment. We are looking into possibly rebuilding Station 15. There are talks about that. However, it is not being closed at the moment. It's still going to be operational on 10th Street.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, I think we're good. Thank you. Happy holidays and stay safe.
Happy holidays to you all as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone here from Zone 2 or Zone 6? Zone 2 or Zone 6? Okay. Then we'll move on to the APD code enforcement. Officer Young. The okay, then we're going to go to ATL 311. Tamika.
Fighting with the mute button. Good evening, everyone. My name is Tamika Merriweather. I am your 311 ambassador. I am here to just remind you that Atlanta 311 is your 9 emergency information station. We provide assistance with work orders throughout the city, questions and answers and concerns. Uh, you can reach us in 5 pathways. You can reach us by phone by simply dialing 311, the short code, or you can dial it out by dialing 404-546-0311. You can also reach us through your mobile devices, um, through your app. You can reach us through social media if you do at ATL311. We're on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, I believe. You can also chat with us at ATL311.com. It is a live representative that you will be chatting with. And then you also have ATL311 at atlantagA.gov for the email. All of these pathways are ways that you can report, take pictures, and send in your questions or your concerns. You also have PAD, which is our supportive services who offer assistance to those who may have hardships and mental health issues. They have remained at 7 to 7. 311 has extended from 7 a.m. to midnight, and we are here to assist. I open the floor to you if you have any additional questions or concerns. Thank you.
Anybody have any questions? Or you can put them in the chat. Terry Dozier.
Hey, good evening. Tamika, I have a case open with ATL 311 that they said was for Georgia DOT, and Georgia DOT said it was for ATL DOT. So that's why I asked you, do I get that through ATL 311?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the Monroe Drive, Armor Drive exit off of the Buford Spring Connector has a road sign up that says both lanes are left turn. They've changed the arrows in the right lane to right turn only, and it's causing crazy confusion. We've been hit almost multiple times, just from people not really knowing what's supposed to be going on, and everybody's jockeying for position to be able to get through the traffic circle. So it's very confusing. So I can send you the case number in chat if you'd
Yes,
like.
yes, yes, please. And you
Okay.
say it's Monroe Drive and what?
It's the Monroe Drive,
Armor.
Armor Drive, Monroe Drive exit off of the Buford Spring Connector, right there where the Hero unit is.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I didn't see anyone else. Tamika, thank you and happy holidays.
Happy holidays, guys. Take care.
Thank you. Thanks for
See you in
being
the new year.
looking forward to it. Lieutenant Henderson from Zone 2. Welcome. There you go.
I apologize. I was struggling with the raise hand button and the mute button. But I am Lieutenant Henderson. I'm currently the Evening Watch Commander for Zone 2. I started my career here in 2011 as an officer in Zone 2. I was promoted to detective, and I was a robbery detective for the city of Atlanta for roughly 5 years. Rose to the rank of sergeant and was assigned to Zone 2. Most recently, I was over the gang unit for roughly 2 years, and as of Thanksgiving, I was promoted to the lieutenant in Zone 2, and I'm now back in Evening Watch Zone 2. So I've worked an extensive amount of time in Zone 2. I also live and raise my family in Zone 2, so I have an invested interest in the safety of our citizens here as well. What I can report is for the city of Atlanta, we're down 7% when it comes to crime. Zone 2, we're down 8% as the zone is concerned. With the holiday season, we're seeing an increase of course, shoppings. So what we like is to push the clean car campaign. Make sure we're not leaving valuables as purses, electronics, or anything inside of our cars that may make our cars a target. Also, we have the Connect Atlanta, where you can connect your personal camera devices or your business devices to our system to aid with our crime fight inside the city of Atlanta. I will also leave my email in the chat. This is my first NPU for this group, so I want to make sure that everyone has my contact, and I'm ready to assist in any way that I can. Any questions?
Great. Any questions for the lieutenant? I don't think so. We have a very quiet bunch tonight. I think we're going to make it easy for you.
Thank you. Well, enjoy your holiday, and I'll leave my chat or my email in the chat, and feel free to contact me at anytime you need my assistance.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone here from Zone 6? Did I miss anyone? I don't think so. Okay. Are there any other representatives from the city that has a report tonight?
Good evening, Debbie. This is Pete Francis,
Oh, okay.
DPW Suite Officer. Happy holidays to everybody and NPU-F. Just want to remind NPU-F that we're in the holiday season, and it's during that period when you generally have an increase in solid waste. You have a number of items which are explosive being used and all of those stuff. I just want to remind the resident to be mindful when you're disposing of those hazardous material, those explosive material. Ensure that you do not put these material in your trash bin, so that when it compress or compact, it may start a fire. So be mindful that our compactors cost a lot, and we don't want to lose them through inappropriate disposal of a garbage. That's basically it for me for tonight.
Officer Francis, do you have a recommendation on how people can dispose of their explosive materials?
Actually, explosive material is not collected by the city. I don't know who collect them at this moment. I could check on that, and I could give you a feedback.
Okay, great. Thank you. Are there any other questions? Okay, I don't see any hands raised. Thank you, Officer Francis. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you. See you next year.
Thank you.
Okay.
Are there any other representatives from the city or county that has a report they want to give?
And not a crazy, creepy person.
This is Officer Andrea Williams with APD Code Enforcement.
Oh, okay, Officer Williams, go ahead.
Just speaking, just let you guys know I'm here if you have any questions.
Okay. So you don't have a report tonight?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Anyone else? Last call. Okay. Are there any elected officials that are here tonight? Or representatives from their offices? Okay, don't see anyone. Then we are going to move on to the consent agenda. We have several applications on the consent agenda. The first is V24-224-676 Elmwood Drive. They have asked to be deferred. This is a deferral at the request of the applicant. And then there are two special events applications. The first is Wine Walk and Run 5K. It's a Class E event with 350 participants to be held at Piedmont Park on May 3rd, 2025. The recommendation is to support. And the last is the ATL Spring Market. That's also a Class E event, 1,950 participants, to be held in Piedmont Park at the end of May, May 31st to June 1st, and that recommendation is also to support. Is there anyone here that would like to have their application removed from the consent agenda so that it can be discussed in their regular place on the agenda? Okay, and I missed a step. Is there a representative here from Wine Walk and Run?
Yes, Patrice Peters.
Oh, thanks, Patrice. And is there a representative here from the ATL Spring Market? Sydney Howell? Okay. All right, so we're going to have to remove the ATL Spring Market. We'll defer that. Okay, is there anyone here that opposes the remaining applications? Okay, is there a motion?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Okay,
I'll second.
Rich Sussman's made the motion. Kay Stevenson has seconded. Are there any questions regarding the motion or the consent agenda? Okay, then seeing none, let's do a hand vote. This is our practice vote, so everyone can find their raise your hand icon that's under the reactions tab. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please raise your hand. If you are a resident of the NPU. As a reminder. All right, is everyone that wants to vote raise their hand? I have 11 ayes. Oh, that's easy. Is there anyone opposed to the consent agenda? All right, don't see any hands raised. By a vote of 11 ayes and 0 nays, the consent agenda is passed.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Thank you. Thanks, Patrice, for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move to matters for voting. I've kind of scrambled the order of the applications. We're going to do LRB applications first. First on the agenda is the Aria Gentlemen's Club at 2284 Cheshire Bridge Road. It's a nightclub. that's requesting a change of ownership. Is the applicant present? Okay, I don't see the applicant present. Kay, do you have a report?
Yeah, for folks who may not be familiar with this application, this is the former location of Allure, which some of you are aware, the mayor has revoked their license, their alcohol license, because of longstanding issues at this location, including more recently shootings, but also a significant impact on the neighborhood in terms of noise, litter, failure to supervise their patrons and their behavior. That the only reason that Allure is still open is because they have appealed that revocation of their license to Fulton County Superior Court. Assuming if that revocation is upheld by the court, they will be not be allowed to reopen as a nightclub, regardless of who the owner is, for 12 months. That means that any grandfathering they have, because they're frankly too close to residential properties per code, they will not be allowed to reopen as a nightclub. When I say that this has been ongoing for a long time, there's been an open petition on change.org for at least 6 years, requesting that the city pull the license for this location because of all of the issues. My recommendation, partly because they haven't shown up, this was originally, the application was placed in May. They were on our agenda for June. They deferred in July, August, September, October, November, and now it's December. My recommendation and my motion would be that the NPU just go ahead and take a vote on this, and my motion would be a recommendation to deny their application for an alcohol license. And that's my motion.
Okay.
I'll second it.
I'm sorry.
That was Tom.
Tom.
Oh, Tom. Oh, thank you, Tom. Okay.
No worries.
Bob. Alrighty. A motion's been made and has been seconded to recommend to deny the Aria Gentlemen's Club. Is there any discussion on the motion? Anyone have any comments? Concerns about denying the application when the applicant's not here? Oh, Rich, thank you.
I would like our licensed person, Blake, to just make a comment. He's the person who speaks for the neighborhood on this issue.
Oh, great. Yes, Blake, go ahead.
Thanks, Rich. So yes, we have had multiple issues with this location. And as Kay said, we have been trying to meet with the applicant and their attorney since May, and has been deferred month after month after month because of the multiple safety issues, and because the applicant is trying to take over the business in the same sort of business style that the previous one is in. Just as the overall neighborhood, we vote to deny this application as well.
Okay, thanks, Clay. Rich, do you have any other comments? Oh, thank you for taking your hand down. Okay, anyone else? Okay. If there's no further discussion, we will vote. All those in favor of recommending denial of the Aria Gentlemen's Club, please raise your hands. There's one thumbs up. Did you hit the wrong icon? There we go. Okay. Has everyone voted that cares to vote? Okay, that's 17 ayes. I'll lower your feedback. Okay. Is there anyone opposed to the motion to recommend denial? Opposed the motion to recommend denial? All right, I don't see any hands raised. Speak out if I'm missing something. All right, by a vote of 17 ayes and 0 nays, the motion to recommend denial has carried. Thanks, Kay. All right, I'm going to turn the meeting over to Tom Schwab, who is our newly elected alcohol license chair, to bring us to the AAA 2317.
Great. Thanks, Debbie.
You're welcome.
So this is a package store, corner of La Vista and Cheshire. It's a change of ownership. They already have an existing license. Blake, I know you're with us. Do you have anything you want to comment from the neighborhood standpoint?
No, they answered our questions, and we don't at this time have a reason to deny.
Great. Yeah, I followed up with their attorney as well. They have multiple other locations, all with alcohol licenses, no apparent issues there. They seem to have a robust system to prevent underage drinking. So I'm satisfied with the answers to all the questions I have. Is there any other discussion or points that people want to raise? No, doesn't. All right. If there's no other discussions, then I'd like to make a motion that we pass this on to the LRB with a favorable approval recommendation.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, so motion's been made by Tom Schwab and seconded by Kay, recommending approval of this application. Is there any discussion of the motion? Okay, Blake, did you have anything you wanted? Oh, you already added. Okay, do you have anything else you want to add? All right. Then are we ready to vote? All those in favor of the motion to recommend approval of AAA 2317? Oh, yeah, let's do this first, but then I need to ask the question if they're present.
Sorry.
Okay, has everyone voted that wants to vote? Okay, still going up. Has everyone voted? Okay, I see 14 ayes.
Thank you.
Hit the wrong button. Okay, all those opposed to the motion to recommend approval, please raise your hand. Okay, give you a little bit of time to find your reaction tab. Okay, I don't see any hands raised, so by a vote of 14 ayes and 0 nays, the motion carries.
Thank you.
Now, the question is the applicant present?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes. Hello, everyone.
okay, thank you, Hina.
My name is Hina Mitani.
And you'll be the agent for the location?
My location is 2317 Chestnut Bridge Road, Northeast Georgia.
And you are the agent, right?
I am the owner.
Oh, is the agent here?
Yes.
Yes.
He's listed as the agent on the application.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, yes. Okay. All righty. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just a little bit of housekeeping there. Okay. One more application. Tom?
Yeah. So the Colonnade, I think everyone is familiar with the Colonnade. It's going through a change of ownership, located on Cheshire Bridge. I don't see Ashley on with us from Morningside Lennox Park Neighborhood Association. I do see Mr. Lewis Jeffries on. Mr. Jeffries attended the Morningside meeting last week. They passed it on to us with a favorable recommendation. We've had subsequent conversations with Mr. Jeffries' attorneys. Um, they've answered, all my questions satisfactorily. There's no material changes to the colonnade as we know it today. And Mr. Jeffries has existing establishments in Atlanta, Lingering Shade, which is a nice place, and no issues there. So, Mr. Jeffries, do you have anything you want to add?
No, I'm just happy to be part of your group. I can't believe I'm under the third owner after 97 years. So I'm happy. Thank you.
Right. So with that, I would like to make a motion to pass this on with an approval to the LRB.
Okay.
And I'll second that motion.
Okay,
Thank
the
you.
motion is to recommend approval made by Tom Schwab, second by Kay. Any discussion on the motion? Anyone have any questions for Mr. Jeffries?
Are you going to keep the chicken livers on the menu?
Actually, yes, they're going to move from an appetizer to an entree, but you can have it either way. They're still there.
These are important questions. Okay. Anything else?
Not from my perspective, no.
Okay, great. Then let's take a vote. All those in favor of the recommendation to recommend approval for the colonnade, please raise your hand. Has everyone voted that wants to vote? I see 15 ayes. Okay, if you're opposed to the motion to recommend approval, please raise your hand. Okay, I don't see any nays. Great. Thanks, Mr. Jeffries, for being here tonight.
Thank you very much.
And we'll look forward to seeing you at the colony.
We're there. Appreciate it.
Okay, we have one more alcohol application. This is for Pizza Jeans, and this is for review and comment only. It's located at Ponce City Market, 675 Ponce de Leon. It's technically an NPU-M, but because we are within 300 feet of the restaurant, it's on our agenda. It's an open air cafe for a change of agent. Does anyone have any comments or anything that we should address with NPU-M?
Not specifically towards Pizza Jeans. I mean, the Ponce area, Ponce City Market's pretty congested traffic, which sometimes backs up right into our NPU. But I don't think a change of agent is going to affect that at all. So no issue from my perspective.
Do you know where in Ponce City Market it's located? Is it up in the roof?
I don't know. It did. I'm pulling up the application again now. I think it was an open air, right?
Right, which could be downstairs.
Yeah. Yeah. That was unclear in the application. So I didn't see any reason to object. To defer it to NPU-M.
Okay, great. Thank you. So no comments?
I would just comment that we defer to NPU-M as Tom suggested.
Okay. All righty. Now we're now going to move on to the special event applications. The first is the 2025 Oyster Fest. This is a gated event. It happens every year 1,500 participants at Park Tavern, and this is scheduled on February 8th, 2025. Paul Smith, I think you're here. Or Terrell, did you want to address it? Someone here to talk about the Oyster Fest?
Sorry, Debbie, my computer didn't want to act right. Yes, I am here.
Okay, do you want to tell us about Oyster Fest?
Yes, it's our annual Oyster Festival that happens on a Saturday. We set up on Friday. We have the event on Saturday. We break down on Sunday. We stay on the Park Tavern side of the cart path, so we did not block the cart path. We did not go into the meadow. And this is our, I want to say, 15th year of doing this event. If you like oysters, it's basically just everything happens inside of Park Tavern. The permit is actually for the space that's outside of Park Tavern, which we don't put anything out there. There's no stage, there's nothing. It's just additional standing space. So we're literally getting a permit for additional standing space outside on the lawn area.
Okay. Any questions for Terrell? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to
application.
I'll second.
Okay. All right. So I missed the first. Who made the motion? Rich?
And Tom seconded.
And Tom seconded. Okay. To support. Okay. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, let's vote, please. Please raise your hand. Okay, the number's not changing. I see 12 ayes. Oops, 13. The number changed just as I was dropping. Okay. All those in favor for opposing, please raise your hand. There's one hand raised.
Oh.
Okay, it's down. All right. If you're opposed to the motion to support, please raise your hand. Okay, I don't see any hands raised. So by a vote of 13 ayes and 0 nays, the motion to support has passed. The next event is the one, no, we did that one. Adidas Atlanta City Games. Enrique Tomas. This is a Class D event, 6,000 participants in Piedmont Park, the Meadow, on May 17th, 2025.
Dave, did you just do both of ours at one time, or did I miss it?
No, I didn't. You're still coming. You're on the agenda.
Oh, okay. All right. I was just checking.
Okay, thank you. Enrique.
Yes, I'm here.
About the event, please.
Yeah, so the Adidas Atlanta City Games is a spectator event that will have up at max 6,000 participants. We will build a track inside the Meadow. It is a 200-meter straightaway large stage. It is the third year of hosting the event, second year hosting it at Piedmont Park. It'll be about a week build for us to set that up, and the event will be contested entirely on Saturday.
And while the track is being built, will residents still have access to that part of the park?
Yes, so we will, a large part of the construction will be loading in steel from Charles Allen Drive using forklifts, but we'll have security along the path to allow residents to continue to use the path and safely traverse the park. The construction area will be outlined with barricade so that the construction area is separate from all residents in the park, but the park will not be closed during construction.
Okay. Any questions to Enrique on the
And so everybody knows, I know it might be hard to understand exactly what I've said in terms of building a track. I did put a video of last year's event in the chat if anybody has any questions or concerns about it.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions? Marlo?
Hey, do you coordinate your load-in times with Midtown High School's arrival and dismissal? Just because sometimes events load in and out on 10th Street there at St. Charles and it backs up traffic and kids are late and all those good things.
Yeah, so we do all of our load-in inside the park on Charles Allen Drive, and we have vehicles staged elsewhere, and they'll be called in once the loading area is open for an additional truck to come in, so that we don't impact Midtown High School at all.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Okay, is there a motion?
I'll move to support this application.
Okay,
I'll second.
Okay, I'm sorry, who is the second?
Tom.
Thank you, Tom. Okay, a motion's been made and seconded to support the Adidas Atlanta City Games. All those in favor, please say, or please raise your hand. Okay, let's see it moving anymore. That's 11 ayes. If you're opposed to supporting the motion to support Adidas Atlanta City Games, please raise your hand. I don't see any hands raised, so by a vote of 11 ayes and 0 nays, the motion carries. And Enrique, while you're here, can you tell us a little bit about the polar opposite?
Yeah, so I saw that email come through and I made an email notification of that. It'll be a scaled down version of Peachtree. Sorry, my son's sick at my feet, so you might hear him a little bit. It is a scaled down version of Peachtree. We have set a capacity of 5,000 runners, and we will be running the event in reverse from Piedmont Park to Lenox Square. So the typical impacts of Piedmont Park will be.
I said I thought that might have been it, but I guess.
Was that for me?
Make sure.
So the event is running in reverse. So the impacts in Piedmont Park will be limited to mostly on race morning on January 4th. We will be closing part of 10th Street to load in for that event. And then we will be reopening 10th Street pretty shortly after the start, which is scheduled for 8:15. The race course will run down 10th Street and make a right on Peachtree, taking up only the northbound lanes on Peachtree, but we will take majority, if not all of the road on 10th Street for a short period of time.
When will the road be closed?
So we will be, the plan right now is that the from Charles Allen to Monroe will be closed roughly around 3 a.m. until about 9. And then we will have a rolling closure from Charles Allen to Peachtree Street beginning around 7:50, 8 o'clock until around 9 o'clock as all the runners come through the start line.
Okay.
And I have a detailed road closure document that I was going to send to you that I received the question this morning, so that you'll have the exact timeline written down to share with all share with everyone.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
Yes.
Right. And then the other concern was the noise level on a Saturday morning I think your application said that you had an early sound check.
I placed the sound check on Friday, and then we wouldn't have sound till prior to 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock would be the earliest we would have any sound, but we'll try and make sure all sound is pointed towards the park or on 10th Street, closer towards the high school rather than up the street down 10th towards residents' homes. But the race start isn't until 8:15, so I don't plan on the same significant amount of sound that you would hear for Big Peachtree, more like your standard road race that you would have in the park.
Okay, remember our residences in our NPU is just east of the park. Like we have several streets that are right, that are lines. So
yeah, we shouldn't have the only sound systems we have are on 10th Street, basically from Charles Allen to the entry of Midtown High School. So no significant sound should be bleeding across Monroe on the east side.
Okay. Great. Does anyone have any questions for Enrique? This is a first time event. And it's not one that we are here to vote on. Okay.
But I'll send over those road closure documents for you, but we will not be impacting Monroe at all. It'll just be 10th Street. So the closure does not impact anything on that side as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just curious, because you're going to be in the meadow, I'm curious about the noise that's going to bleed over towards Park Drive homes, Elmwood homes, and the Crest Hill homes, because we're right up against the park. And we've had road races in the morning, and it's 7:15 is a little early to start having all the rally or runners going. So we're just trying to get an idea of what that noise impact will be.
Yeah, and we'll have kind of 2 or 3 sound positions on 10th Street. But the intent would be at 7 o'clock would just be vocal announcements, not a ton of rallying and music and all that. And as we get closer to the race start, closer to that 7:45 time, then we'll ramp it up a little bit. But it will be nowhere near the level in which we see for Peachtree and some of our other larger events.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Enrique. Thanks for allowing us to ask questions.
Oh, absolutely. Happy to do it.
Okay, so we do not have to take a vote on that. The next application is Park Tavern Spring Fest. Terrell, you're on again. This is another dated event, 1,500 participants at Park Tavern. It's a series, March 8th and 9th, and then March 15th and 16th. And once again, this is an event that has been going on for as long as I can remember.
Yep, and if you're on the call for Oyster Fest, it's the exact same situation. We basically are getting a permit for the outside area of Park Tavern for 1,500 people. We will stay on the Park Tavern side of the cart path. We which I didn't say before, we do our best to do Uber and Lyft. And now with the Beltline, people walking to the event, so there's not a lot of traffic. And especially with the new light situation, we have that, but we will have officers out there to help direct traffic. It's just, it's a festival, a series, so we do one permit. It's supposed to be two weekends in a row. So oyster crawfish and then St. Patrick's Day. And then we would set up on Friday, then break down on Sunday and finish on Monday. But again, we're on a Park Tavern side of the cart path, so it doesn't impact the park or any activity in the park.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I'll move to support the application.
Okay.
You also
I'll
have a
second.
hand raised.
Yeah, I do see that hand raised. Let's get the motion seconded first.
Yep.
I'll second it. It's David.
Okay, thank you, David.
Yep, my pleasure.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded to recommend approval or support of the Park Tavern Spring Fest. Now, any discussion? Charlie.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I just had a question about the comment you made about the quote new light situation. What are you referring to exactly, and what's your concern?
No concern. It's just with the new lights that they put on Monroe, how it kind of breaks up at, I want to say that's Canuga and then 10th Street. We would still have an officer there, but that helps us have people who do Ubers, things that do need to pull in. That actually helps us because it kind of breaks the traffic up. But we would still have an officer there. So it's actually an advantage having that situation there.
Okay.
But just
Thank you.
want everybody to know that that would help the traffic if there is any traffic right there. But the crowd that we bring to this event, mostly either walk, Uber, or scooter to this event.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Any other questions on the motion or the application? Seeing none, let's take a vote. All those in favor of the motion to support, please raise your hand. Has everyone voted that wants to vote? The 11 I, yes, 12 ayes. Okay, if you're opposed to the motion to recommend support of the Park Tavern Spring Fest, please raise your hand. Okay, I don't see any hands raised, so by a vote of 12 ayes and 0 nays, the motion carries. The last application is for ATL Spring Market. They were on the consent agenda. We had to remove it because they weren't present. Is there a motion to defer?
I'll move to defer the application.
I could defer.
Okay. Kay made the motion and Rich Sussman seconded. The motion's been made and seconded to defer the ATL Spring Market. Are there any objections to deferring this application? Okay, no objections. The motion carries with no objections. All right, we have no BZA applications tonight. The Elmwood application was deferred on the consent agenda. And that's it for our matters for voting. Next item on the agenda is presentations, Department of City Planning Capital Improvements element. My friend Rasheen Hunter is here tonight to talk about the capital improvements elements. Rasheen, and you can share your screen if you like.
Thank you. Good evening, NPU-F. Which, do you all see the correct screen?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Good evening. I'm Rasheen Hunter, Project Manager and Development Impact Fee Coordinator with the Department of City Planning. This evening, I will present an overview of the capital improvement element, also known as the CIE project submission. First, let me provide some background information on development impact fees. Impact fees are a one-time fee imposed by a local government on a new or proposed development project to cover. Sorry, the office is loud tonight. A new or proposed development to cover all or part of the cost of providing public services to that development. In 1993, the Atlanta City Council adopted an ordinance that created the Development Impact Fee Program. On March the 1st, 2021, the City of Atlanta adopted the 2020 Development Impact Fee Study and the associated ordinance, which went into effect on September the 1st, 2021. This update introduced several key changes. Adjustments of fee levels, which were raised from 1993 construction costs, expanded permissible uses of the funds, updated transportation guidelines to align with the newly mandated transportation proximity analysis. The premise of the Development Impact Fee Program is that new development impacts the city's existing infrastructure, and the city charges a fee to offset these impacts. The fees collected are then used to fund projects that mitigate the impact on the infrastructure. To maintain its ability to charge development impact fees, the city must prepare the capital improvement element annually. The CIE is submitted to the Department of Community Affairs, which is the state of Georgia, and the Atlanta Regional Commission for review and approval. The approved CIE must be adopted by the Atlanta City Council each year no later than October 31st. Lastly, the CIE is an element of the CDP, also known as Plan A. The CIE consists of two parts, the annual financial report and the schedule of improvements. The Department of Finance completes the annual financial report, which details the total amount of fees collected, the total amount of fees encumbered, and the total amount of spent on projects in the fiscal year. These figures are reported for each fee type charge. The city imposes fees for fire, police, parks and recreation, and transportation. This is the current CIE annual financial report, which covers the fiscal year of 2023 because those are the most recent audited figures. The schedule of improvements lists all the projects the city intends to fund in part or whole with development impact fees over the next 5-year planning horizon. This project list is completed by each department that receives development impact fees, including fire, police, parks and recreation, and transportation. Projects requests are received from city departments, council members, residents, CIDs, and other stakeholders. Projects are evaluated by the Department of Law to ensure eligibility. Eligible projects are then placed in the CIE. However, please note that this does not guarantee funding. The Impact Fee City Department set the project selection strategy, which is why it's imperative you're working on projects with the contact in the department. For example, if you need improvements in your local park, you should be working with someone in the Parks and Recreation Department. Development impact fees can only be spent on projects that are capital improvements, specifically public facilities that are designed to serve the community at large. The City of Atlanta has 4 types of facilities they collect for. Fire fees can be used for new fire stations, land acquisitions, and fire and rescue equipment. Police fees can be used for new police stations, land acquisitions, and police equipment. Parks and recreation fees can be used for new park land expansion, and park improvements. Transportation fees can be used for new signals, bridges, multi-use trails in the right-of-way, complete streets, intersection improvements, and smart transportation technology. Here are some important restrictions. Fees cannot be used for renovations or replacements. Sidewalks, road pavement, and safety improvements must be part of larger projects and cannot be standalone projects, as these are the state regulations. The portal to receive new projects opens in late January and typically closes in March. After submission, projects are reviewed by the city's law department for eligibility and by the other city departments for feasibility and prioritization. Gray areas do exist. Submit projects to gain clarity and for determination as they are reviewed on a case-by-case basis. Here are some key dates. From January to March, the project selection portal is open. From March to April, projects are reviewed for eligibility by the Department of Law. Impact fee departments are consulted. Submitters may be contacted for clarification if needed. In June, there will be a public hearing for the newly eligible projects that were submitted. Also in June, the CIE will be submitted to the ARC and DCA for review and approval. Once the portal opens in January 2025, use these QR codes as they will provide step-by-step instructions for submitting a project, as well as a link to where you can submit your project. I will answer any questions if time permits and your chair allows. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Rasheen, did you have more than one slide? Because we only saw the cover.
I did. That's so I'm using too many screens. That's I will drop the presentation in the chat. um, okay, yeah, I'll drop the presentation in the chat.
So,
and I see a question in the chat, Madam Chair.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the question is, what do I mean by land acquisitions? It's when the city buys land, whether that's for a park, for a fire station, police station. So that's when the city acquires land to, whether it's to build a park or to build a fire station or a police station.
So what can an NPU do with this information?
So the reason why I am coming to you all is because as residents of the city, you all have the ability to submit to receive the funding for projects within your neighborhood, within your NPU. And so often we receive some projects for community members, as well as council members, other people as well. So if there is, for example, a new improvement in your park, let's say you want to build out a new multi-use trail within the park, you all could submit a project for that. Or you can work with the departments to help get prioritization so they can submit projects on your behalf to gain access to this funding.
Hmm.
And again, this funding are for 4 different groups: transportation, which is the roads, parks and recreation, fire, and police are the 4 fees that, again, these are not fees that are paid by taxpayers. These are fees developers pay because they're either developing or redeveloping an area. So they pay into this pot, and then the funding is then used to fund projects that new development is causing in the different areas.
And who can request the funds?
Anybody.
An individual or
an individual, a neighborhood, an NPU, CIDs. One of the most interesting ones that I received last year was someone who didn't live in the city, but they worked for Oakland City Park. They put in a request for funding. So all stakeholders are allowed to request funds. And so the reason why I'm going to every single NPU is I want to make sure that everyone is aware of that. As my friend, Madam Chair, stated, I grew up in the NPU system. I'm an active member of NPU-P, and also I'm a part of APAB and served alongside her for quite some time.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make sure you all have this information, whether you knew or not. And you do also have a hand raised when you get a chance, Madam Chair.
Oh, okay. I don't see the hand raised. So.
That's me, Debbie. It's because of the color of my hand. Well, whatever. Rashid, a couple of hypotheticals, because I'm just thinking about in my neighborhood how maybe we might use some of these funds. Suppose that we would like to plant some street trees. Can we use funds like this to get Trees Atlanta to buy trees and help us plant them in the neighborhood along our commercial nodes?
How you doing, Kay? It's good to see you.
Good to see you, Phil.
So for this program, no. But there are other programs if you want to get trees planted that, I can connect you with. And the reason why this is more so like development is happening is building capacity on existing infrastructure, primarily your fire, your police, parks, and your transportation, your roads. This is made to do projects, if you within a 5-year planning horizon, to alleviate the stress on existing infrastructure, those 4 things. But there are other programs where you can plant trees.
So let me give you a different hypothetical. We talk about transportation, not necessarily roads, but pedestrian. If we have a streetscape that's, broken sidewalks and, poor lighting and that sort of thing, could we use some of these kinds of funds to improve the streetscape in that way?
So yes, but those will fall into those gray areas where you can't do those as standalone projects. And those will be considered safety improvement and renovation and replacements. Those need to be part of larger transportation projects such as complete streets. Because when we do those, you do get all those things you just described plus more. But this is this is not the city of Atlanta. These are the state rules. So you have to make sure that it's building out new capacity, right? So it's new things for at least a 10-year minimum shelf life, if you will, whatever the project may be. So those pieces and elements for transportation, as you just described, would need to be part of a larger project. That's the only way they could happen, not in standalones.
So if we, just to extend that for another minute, if there's a complete streets project identified for North Highland Avenue, we could, and which there is, even though it's very low on the priority list, we could potentially expand that to include the streetscape, to make the sidewalks better and make it more pedestrian safe and do those kinds of things as part of that.
Yes, you could. And I think Monroe is one of your main corridors, right? Monroe,
right.
That's, for example, was already on the list for this program. And it doesn't have to be, you can also use this program as funding gaps as well. So if you have a project and, let's say ATL DOT is looking for additional funding, this is a great resource. I will add that for parks and transportation dollars, the city is in service areas. And those dollars can only be that are collected in those service areas cannot leave those service areas. And I believe you all in Transportation North. I can drop the chat. And so therefore the dollars collected in the north portion cannot be spent anywhere else in the city except for that area. Okay. In addition to, these dollars are not dollars that are quote unquote safe. You have to use them or lose them. So they have to be encumbered within 6 years, or we give them back to the developer.
6 years. 6 years starting when
they pay them.
Okay.
So if me and you, building a project today and we pay development impact fees, the city has to use those fees within 6 years that they spent them. They give them to the city, or then we have to, and no, we have a track record of not giving back money to developers. I want to clarify that. I'm saying, that is a rule. That is why we have to think about sometimes smaller projects that qualify, because often if we wait too long, we can put money in jeopardy.
Okay, that's really helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. And good to see you. I know it's been a while.
Yeah, you as well.
You have another hand, Madam Chair. I don't know if you can see it.
My screen's kind of weird.
Hi, Debbie. It's David
Mr.
again.
David Taylor Claus.
Yep. Hey, David.
Hey, Rasheen. Hey, thanks for doing this, because I appreciate the information. I think it's super helpful for this NPU. With all the updates to the Beltline 10th Street Monroe intersection, we started to notice, and it's not even summer yet, we've started to notice the increased blocking of Monroe and Crest Hill. One of the things we've been looking at and talking to 311 and ADOT about is either a pedestrian crosswalk signal, because Crest Hill now has the Beltline dead ending directly at the end of our street. The Beltline paved a spur to our street, which has always been an access point to the park. So one of the things we've been talking about doing is getting either don't block the box markings on the street or something to better help that intersection from being blocked. We just had a accident 3 days ago that sent an Uber driver to the hospital and a passenger also injured. So just trying to turn into the street. So what we really want to do is see if this kind of funding could help with gaps like that. Would that be a kind of a project that we could submit for?
So I want to say it like this. So typically safety improvements standalone are not included, but I will tell you what you're talking about is signalization, which is a part of transportation. And so therefore that's one of those gray areas. And we do have projects like that currently on the list. So I would either work with ATL DOT and mention this program, or if you want to get advantageous, submit it yourself, and then it will go to them, because they will be able to review and comment on it. And I think what you're describing may be what they call a hawk signal, which is
exactly.
So yes, we have similar projects like that on the list. I want to make you aware of that. But again, every intersection is not the same. Every qualifier is different. So you can submit it, but it sounds like a great project.
Thank you. Thanks for putting your name in the chat as well. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Take care.
I'm also going to drop some documents in the chat as soon as I get done talking. I'm not the best multitasker these days.
Welcome to my club. What are the range of grants, or how much could people ask for?
So I will tell you, if you were to look at this list, there are things on here upward of $20, $100 million. And then things as small as $5,000. So it ranges. It depends on the project. But I will tell you that if the projects that get funded, right, that are on the list are the ones that have matching dollars right? Or that are, especially the big ticket items. And you might think of, for example, there's quite a few moving amendment forward projects on the list, and the other bonds that were before that. So they range in terms of that, and so that's why I also say it's imperative you work with your departments. Because, for example, I'm not an engineer, and sometimes you can have a great idea and not think it doesn't cost this much, but then when they get the engineering things and telling you how much things cost, you're like, wait a minute, it costs that for that, and that's just the reality of it. And so the idea is that so this program, if you want to think about it, has multiple hurdles. The first hurdle is getting on the list. And then the second hurdle, once you get on the list, is getting prioritized and funded. So that's how I would approach it as well.
Okay. Any other questions? Thanks, Rasheen. This is much bigger than the community impact grants.
It is, but it has different kinds of rules and
Rules,
regulations.
right.
But I know every little thing helps in terms of how we can get this. And I can tell you, we meet with the council members as well, at least twice a year on this program. And I know your council members are very much so aware of this program, and he is, keeping his eye on it in particular. So you won't have to start from scratch if you mention to him in terms of what he thinks about it, and also let him share with him, Councilman Wong, what you all would like to see some uses for this program.
Great, thank you.
All right, you all have a great night. If you don't have anything else for me.
Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you. It was my pleasure. And I'm going to drop some things in the chat before I head out.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Okay, bye.
Okay, Doug Young, do you have a planner's report?
Good evening, everybody. Yes, I do. Let me get that in front of me here. Let's see. Sorry about that. Good evening, everybody. My name is Doug Young. I'm the city planner assigned to NPU-F. In my day job, I'm the director of the City of Atlanta's Office of Design, which manages the city's historic preservation, public space, and planning activities. We do have a short report tonight, so let me bring that up. No announcements on any previous voting items from NPU-F. We do have a couple other announcements, though. We're wrapping up the 50th anniversary of the neighborhood planning unit system, and we want to express our gratitude for everyone's partnership and participation. Your engagement has been invaluable in making this a truly memorable year. We'll be sharing some of the special moments we captured on our social media in the upcoming weeks, so be sure to stay connected and follow us on social media at NPU Atlanta. Then, as Debbie noted, we're still continuing with our Plan A, Atlanta's Comprehensive Development Plan work. The plan, of course, sets forth the vision, goals, and policies and actions for growth and development in the city of Atlanta. We're continuing to host public meetings, pop-ups, and various kind of get-togethers through February. You can get all that information and more at atlantaforall.com. That's atlantaforall.com. You can also get copies of past presentations and draft documents and all that kind of good stuff. As a companion activity, the Department of City Planning is working on Atlanta Zoning 2.0, which is an update of our City of Atlanta zoning ordinance. The ordinance module number 1 discussion draft is still up for review. And then we have, you can do that sort of live on the document, and those comments and whatnot are being cataloged, and you can see those on atlzoning.com. And then module 2, which is development standards, will be released, or it has been released now on December 4th. And you can comment on that through the 31st, also at atlzoning.com. And then last but not least, we have a survey that you can tell us about your NPU experience that's been up live for a little bit now. It's ending at the end of December. The survey link will be in the chat that I'll just drop in just a minute, so you can comment on your experience with the NPU system and what you'd like to tell us about that. And that is our report.
Okay, any questions for Doug?
And I'll put my information and the links to all those items in the chat.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'm going to get mine. There we go. Okay. Thanks, Doug. Neighborhood and committee reports. Is there a report for Lindridge Martin Manor?
No report.
Kitty. Piedmont Heights.
Unknown caller.
Piedmont Heights. Morningside Lenox Park. Marla.
Also no report.
Virginia Highland. Already, no report. Emory CDC area, Druid Hills. Is a report from Parks, Trees, and Environment.
No report this month.
Okay. Education, communications, public safety. Kay, anything that you want to add?
Just a couple of quick things. So the neighborhoods in Zone 6 all got together and contributed, and rather than cater a meal for the Zone 6 APD officers this year, we gave each of the officers a gift card to purchase their own whatever it was they wanted, and we actually collected enough funds to have some extra gift cards that we've given to the major that she will be using as incentives and rewards. We also, in Virginia Highland, purchased gift cards for all of the AFR officers out of Station 19. In Piedmont Heights, they collaborated on a meal for Station 29. So all around over the holidays, we've done some really nice appreciation events for our police officers and our fire folks. In terms of holiday safety, I just want to remind folks, if you are traveling, if you are in a neighborhood that has a security patrol, make sure you let them know you're out of town so that they can check on your home. But if you do not have that, let your neighbors know what your plans are. Nosy neighbors are actually one of the best resources we have to keep ourselves safe and aware of what's going on, so they can call in if there's any kind of a problem or get in touch with you if there's any kind of a problem. And that's it. That's all I've got. Thanks.
Okay, great. Thanks. I have a quasi APAB report. The December meeting is this upcoming Saturday, so nothing to report there. As I mentioned a couple months ago, that I'm going to roll off the APAB board. I've been attending those meetings for the last 10 years, and it's now time for someone new to get the experience, and would like to appoint Katie DeWeese from Virginia Highland for the APAB rep representing NPU-F. Unfortunately, Katie could not be with us tonight. She's traveling back by car from Texas and won't be back until Sunday. But are there any objections to appointing Katie to the APAB board?
I fully support anyone willing to volunteer to serve on APAB, having done it for just a year.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting my Saturdays back.
I'm sure. So no objections.
No objections. Okay. Then I will submit Katie's name to the city. Okay. The chair report, a couple updates. The community impact grant closeout report is due 12/31/2024. We can be given some grace on our submission because we received our money late from the city, but I do need to know how much time is needed in order to notify the city in advance of that delay. The project managers for the 4 projects have all been advised of the date, and so and I've already received, I think, 2 reports for the projects, but I'm going to be bugging the rest because we do not want to miss the opportunity for a 2025 grant. The 25 community impact grants were released last week to the NPU chairs, The basic program has not changed from last year. There's a couple soft spots that we need to be aware of. One is that money for upgrades and plant installations is not actually coming from this project, from this grant program. It's actually coming from the Parks Department. And I understand from the project manager at the city that they've received a soft commitment to fund those projects, but nothing certain. So fingers crossed that they'll continue to get funds. There is a $1,500 training bonus for NPU officers to attend 3 training programs. I don't have those with me, but I will be sending out an email to the officers and committee chairs to ask them to enroll in one or several NPU training programs. The programs are actually not bad. It's a couple hours on Zoom. You don't have to go anywhere. So it may be well worth your attendance. If you're interested in applying for a grant, please send me an email to get the specifics on what you are required in order to make a submission. The grant submissions have to be submitted to the city in early March, no exceptions on that, which means that the NPU will need to vote on those grant projects at our February meeting. So time kind of flies on this project, but I want to keep you up to date on the requests. And once again, the city is allowing grant requests up to about $10,000. Our NPU has been lucky to receive that for the last several years, but it's not guaranteed. The next thing is I've received a Beltline SAP, Beltline 24045 for 1903 Piedmont Circle. This is in Piedmont Heights. It's the European and Domestic Auto Care building that they are renovating and creating an addition to that building. I've submitted it to, or sent it to Piedmont Heights for their review and comments. The SAP hearing for that project is at the end of January. And the last thing I want to mention is that the phase 2 input of the Piedmont Park Master Plan is now available. You can leave your input on several key components of the master plan to include entrances and visibility to the park, the Claramere ecology and paths around the lake, adding additional activation at the Noguchi Playscape site, and park roads, and activating the north portion of the park at the Piedmont Park website. So that's where you will find the place where you can actually provide input right on the website. Any questions for me or any concerns about the community impact grants? Okay. We have no old business tonight. Is there any new business to come before the NPU this evening? Is there any other business to come before the NPU tonight? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Tom, you were the second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay, we will immortalize that. It is 8:41. Thank you all for being here tonight. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and have a good New Year. We'll see you in the middle of January.
Back at
Blaming
you.
you, Debbie.
Thank you,
Okay,
ma'am.
take care.
Take care.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Happy
And
holidays.
remember, you can save the chat.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I wish I could, but you can't on a phone.
David, if you need it, let me know. I can send it to you.
Oh my God, thank you, because I need those docs that Rasheen put in. Thank you so
Great.
much.
Not a problem. I'll email it to you shortly.
Happy holidays. Take care.
All right.
Yeah, you too, David. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. I'm doing this on my, oh, I have to stop the recording.
Yes.
I need to find the stop for the recording.
For me, it's up at the top.
Yeah. No, I think I'm recording on my other. I'm working. I have no idea where the button is on my iPad. Well, I don't know. I didn't get a message that the AI companion came on. Well, the prompt is to stop summary, so
Hopefully that will work.
yeah.
Okay, let's see.
On the button, it's on